Welcome to the Think Fitness Life podcast, your one-stop shop for exploring the connections between fitness, health, and overall well-being. Join us as we dive deep into all aspects of a balanced and vibrant life, from pushing your limits in the gym to finding peace of mind outside of it. Whether you're a seasoned athlete or just starting your journey, you are in the right place to discover the knowledge and insight to perfect your fitness life.
All right, welcome back to the Think Fitness Life podcast. Today we're going to dive into the mindset world, the mindset of success. What comes with it? How do you determine what is successful and how do you become successful? Many people are looking for this one trick, this one way that they're going to bring success. But in the daily life, there's more than one way. There's many ways to bring success. So we're going to sit down and talk with Kevin Surace, who talks about joy, how to become successful by boosting joy daily in your life to become better. And you're big into keynote speaking.
Yeah, that is right. I do 40, 50 keynotes a year, some on AI and a lot on the joy success cycle, and sometimes some cybersecurity in there.
And that's the second thing you mentioned, that joy success cycle is really where I want to dive into today, because you hear a lot of keynote speakers talk about motivation, talk about how to improve business, but what stood out on the website was like this joy and success, because a lot of people, they want that, but I don't know if we ever really go to talks and hear much about that. It's like, how do you get there? You seem to talk about more, and that's why I want to dive into today of why you picked that topic and why you like to speak about it.
Absolutely. And I love to speak about it. You know, these are funny things, right? Because the way you end up, there's two ways you end up speaking things. One, you have a specific set of experience that you went to school for and you build. I went my AI talk, so clearly I invented the virtual assistant. So I have a lot to say about that. I'm not always, but it's a great topic. And I'm very active in AI. But the other side really came out of people coming to me and saying, how did you end up with almost 100 worldwide patents? I said, well, I want to solve other people's problems. And that's the best thing to patent. You've solved something someone else didn't solve. Well, why do you want to do that? Well, I have an open enough mind to be able to see those problems and identify what solutions would be. Well, why do you have that open mind? And I started thinking about it. And people would always say, you're a high dopamine individual. Why do you have such high dopamine? And what I realized is I approach everything from a point of joy, not a point of sadness or depression or negative thoughts or complaints. But most humans, literally, it's not anyone's fault, just complain all day. It's what we do. We look for, oh, the weather sucks. Oh, my knees hurt. Oh, I've got these 10 things on my list. There's 8 too many. Oh. It's actually what humans do. It's our nature. However, the more you do that, the harder it is to have a very open mind, to be able to see how to be more successful. So over time, I realized that success and joy are actually directly connected. They're not these separate things. There's not happiness over here and then pathways to success over here. The pathway to success is finding joy in every moment, every day, every task, every podcast, every sip of coffee or tea or whatever it is you got in the mug, every sweater we wear that has a mustache on it, every single thing. Can I find the joy in executing that? Even if it's just finishing that task, that changes your mindset of how you approach your pathway to success, whatever success is, your family, friends, podcast, could be views, could be listeners, could be a business success, could be financial success. Doesn't matter. It's a game changer in the way you lead your life towards that success.
So love it. When you say joy, because I think people are going to have a hard time with some of the stuff you just said. And if they aren't watching, I just took a drink of whatever, had my mug, and I'm wearing a Sore Next Mustache hoodie. And when you say those things, it resonates with me because I understand why I chose to wear this today. And I like that approach. And I've never heard that approach, especially to the smaller things,
Hmm.
because I firmly believe we don't just pick things random. Most people pick what clothes to wear by the logos on them, what they want to affiliate with that day, and that
Right.
means something to them. And when you look at that and say, okay, well, how does this bring me joy? Now you can associate with something, and there you get the little, I would call it dopamine spike of, hey, I'm associated with this organization, or I represent this, and this is what they represent further down the line. I love that. What made you come to, okay, joy in the small moments? Because a lot of people will think joy, I need to go search for joy. I need a
Right. I
big
need to go on
ultimate.
vacation and get
Yeah.
some joy. See, that's the mistake.
Mhm.
And it's not that everyone shouldn't have a vacation to find joy. That's not a mistake to do that. It's a mistake to think that I've got to wait 6 months or a year to get that joy. So I'll give you an example. Most senior people have had to lay off people, let's say, or they've had to fire someone or whatever. And when you see that on your task list for the day, you go, this is going to be painful. I'm going to hate it. I don't want to do it. I'm trying to put it off. This is a terrible thing. That is one way to look at that. And it's true. However, when you look at things that way, we talk about positive quotients in the book that I'm writing. And positive quotient is really want to add up to 10. I want to be at a 10 all the time. People understand the number 10. It's easy. There's only 10 degradations, etc. 10 gradations. But every time you have a negative or a complaint, you take away from that score. So let's say I wake up and I'm at a 5. I'm kind of neutral. And I go, oh, it's going to be a really hard day. Now you're at 4. And then you go, oh, I'm out of this breakfast cereal that I love. Great. Now you're at a 3. Just keep going. You're going to be at 0. And when you get to 0, you have to dig yourself out of that. And if your best success and your best thinking, your best open mind is when you're at 10, you don't want to work your way to 0. You want to work your way to 10. And the way you work your way to 10 is say, oh, I've got a long list of things today, but I'm going to be so happy when I complete them. Great. Now I'm at a 6. Well, now I'm at 6 and I walk out and I see, oh, I'm out of my favorite breakfast cereal, but I have this other thing I haven't tried in weeks and it'll be a really nice new flavor for me just as a change. Now I'm at a 7. And so every little thing during your day, you have 2 ways to look at it. If you realize that during the day, success happens when you're at 10, and it happens a lot harder at 8, and it happens ridiculously hard at 3, and it never happens when you're at 0, then you go, well, I want to be at a 10. And by the way, people want to be around people who want to aspire to 10 because it brings the other people up with them, because those people are finding joy in everything in life. I mean, I wake up in the morning and I go, oh my goodness, it's another day. Now, why would I do that? Even though I may not realize what's coming that day, I'm alive. The alternative to not waking up was death. So this is a miracle. This is fascinating. It's a great way to start just in the morning with the thinking to take you through the day and work your way to aspire to get to those 10, positive quotient of 10.
Mhm. Yeah, it's got to be, and that's the outlook that we want everyone to have. But when it comes, you said it's very contagious, or people want to be around people who are that. And then it's the complete opposite. When you're in a room, and I'm sure you've been in a room, and you have that sort of, I want joy, I want success, and you get some people that kind of are just like pulling that out of you. They're sucking that success, that joy out of the room. You can feel it. When you come to those kind of situations, because I'm sure across many companies, there's situations where you've talked and that room's like, we're more on, I want to pull down. How do you approach that? Or how do you approach that mindset of, okay, have to have the discipline in order to get success, which is joy?
So look, some things, the joy success cycle is interesting because the more success you have, the more joy you have. So if I have success crossing something off my list that brings me joy, which takes me up a notch, which brings me more success on the next task. So when you are in a room with Debbie Downer, and I'm sorry for the Debbies out there, you wonderful people, old saying, right? My wife's saying is you have to bless them out of your lives. You cannot surround your people. You cannot surround yourself with people who are complaining about everything. And we all have people in our lives that complain about everything. And sometimes they're relatives. You can't bless them out of your life, but you just don't need it. Unless you don't care about success, in which case you might as well have them suck all the energy and the joy out of you. But if you want to be successful, you cannot expend the energy that you've been given in this life towards simply trying to undo or correct that person or try to bring some joy back to you after they brought you all the way down. It's just not interesting. Now, remember, we're not talking here about good grief, someone's got cancer. That's not what we're talking about. The day-to-day life that we live. There clearly are exceptions. There are deaths in the family. There's all kinds of horrific things that happen. I don't want you to ignore those and say, but I am joyful at the funeral. Probably you don't have to do that. Although I've been to funerals and people were, and they didn't want to have a negative experience. And you see that a little bit more today. They kind of throw a party and there's the body. It just seems odd, but that's okay. So, but aside, your everyday living, you need to find the little moments of joy as well as the big moments of joy. And you need to get the joy killers, Debbie Downer, away from your life. And there are joy killers all the time. There's tasks you have to do that you have a hard time finding any joy in it. You might be in a job that the whole job is a joy killer, in which case, if you really want to be successful, how can you see, when I say this, it's obvious, obviously I can't be successful in a job that I hate. No, you can't. So no, probably you can't be successful in life or with your family in a job you hate. Therefore, you'll have to do something about that. You have no choice. You got to get those joy killers out of your life. And again, most of what I say, and most of what we talk about in the book, and it's a whole plan for your life, are things you'll go, oh, yeah, I kind of knew that. I kind of knew that. But nobody ever put it together and said, if you want success, you actually have to drive joy at every moment, and you have to get the joy killers out of your life.
Exceptionally hard because nowadays people look at these mundane tasks as just, this is another frustrating obstacle that I have to do. And that maybe not everyone, but there's things in the traffic, things that are just, we can't really control, that bring us these moments of maybe frustration, maybe non-efficient. And I'm sitting here as one of them. Yeah, I don't a lot of traffic because I have to be efficient with almost every minute of my day, but it is what it is. So in this plan where people are just gotten bombarded with a lot of coaching, plan for you in your book, where do you start? Where does someone start? Right. That first base layer of someone's, hey, I want to change.
Here's
that
what
person.
Great question. And it's a perfect segue. One of the chapters in the book we cover, and then we recover it a lot, is the number of complaints or negatives. They can be internal complaints, right, you get during the day. So you get in the car and you go, oh, the traffic today is horrendous. Okay. You get that. The average American has over 100 internal and external complaints a day. Now, it seems a lot, but I'll tell you, in 5 minutes, I can complain about this pen being out of ink. I can complain about this is the wrong connector. I'm out of my little drink here. I've got something coming up pretty soon on the calendar. I could have 5 complaints in 1 minute. So it's actually quite easy to get to 100 a day. Okay. So job one is tomorrow, everyone who's listening to this, start to add up all of your complaints and negatives during the day, all of them. And every single one go, oh, that's 46. Oh, okay, it's 47. I know you're going to try to talk yourself out of some of them. Oh, it's not really a complaint. It's not really 47. Whatever. You're going to get yourself to 40, 60, 100, 120, whatever the number is, okay? Because I want you to wake up to the fact that actually you spend a lot of your time literally digging yourself a hole further and further down that you can't get out of. And you never get out of it because you keep digging the hole further and further, and there's just not enough positives to dig yourself out of the hole. And then the following day, so tomorrow's the second day, the next day's third day, I want you to wake up, and on that day, your goal, 1 complaint for the entire day. You get 1. So if you get out of bed and you go, oh, my knees hurt, and you're done for the day. For the day. And you're going to say, how am I ever going to get through the day? And I now have to look at everything, including the traffic, in a positive light, in a joy. Traffic has to bring me joy. So I can tell you, traffic can immediately bring you joy. Listen to a podcast, listen to your favorite podcast, and all of a sudden you're getting value out of that time, great joy out of that time. You're learning during that time. And in fact, you're thankful for the traffic. And I'll give you an example. When I get on an airplane, I don't go, oh, it's a 7-hour flight. I go, it's sadly only a 7-hour flight because there's 20 things. There's 20 hours of stuff I can do on this flight and nobody's bothering me. I have no Zoom calls. I have no phone calls. I have nothing. It's me and my email and tasks I have to get done. And usually when the plane's landing, they're coming and saying, Mr. Surace, you have to put away your laptop. I don't want to. Please, I'm busy. And I'm so sorry the flight has ended. It's all how you look at these things. And it's not crazy. You start to look at it that way when you have attached the fact that joy equals success. They're not exclusive. And you limit yourself to one complaint a day. So you can't complain about the plane ride. You can't, because you already lost your complaint earlier in the day. You used it on something dumb and it's over. And once you want to be successful, you realize I only get one a day. That's my limit. That's how I have to live. And at first, maybe you get it to 10 a day, and then it's 8, and then it's 5. But eventually your goal is 1. My goal is always 1 a day.
And it's got to be a hard thing for someone who's so used to, maybe someone so used to having those, we'll call micro complaints. I kind of like these word micro things, because people don't realize that, yeah, it might not be big, but you said it takes your mindset and puts you in a state. So with that, with all these people having these little micro ones, it's going to be hard for someone who's so used to looking at everything as that negative outlook to really challenge their minds to break that. Okay, you get 1 a day. And you use it early, you're done.
Yeah, including micro. Oh, I put my finger in my eye.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's a micro complaint. Oh, I pulled a hair out. You're done. You have to find joy in everything you do. And again, you asked me about how does one change their life, basically.
Yes.
You change your life because you've taken control of it mentally. You control your life. So some people are going to listen to this. Oh, I couldn't do that. Of course you can. No one else can do it for you, but you can start to look at everything and say, this is going to be hard, but where is the joy in this task? Where's the joy in firing a person? Well, the joy is they're going to find a better job. They're going to be in a better place. We're going to be in a better place. I'm going to help them find a job here, him or her. It's actually good for everybody. There is plenty of joy in it when you look at it a different way. And then there's a huge joy in just checking the task off your task list. I always make task lists. We talk about doing that. Do it the night before or in the morning. Write it down in pencil or pen. Don't type it somewhere. Literally write it down. And then you check the things off during the day. I don't need to check them off. Check them off. And even if you don't get to all of them, every time you check it off, it's a win.
Oh, yeah.
Every single time it's a win. And you need those wins during the day. You need those success moments, because success breeds joy, which breeds success. And it's that joy success cycle that sets you up for more and more success.
And is that step 2 the list?
It's not step 2,
Or
but
step
it's
2, or is that part
it
of
is
step
one
1?
of the things that there's all these different, so it's less about steps. First of all, we talk about why does joy matter? Why does it matter in the first place? Why does it matter? And then you get this joy success cycle that ties it all together. And you realize this is a cycle I want to be in. I don't want to be in the joy killer thing, which is fear and stress and burnout and anger and all those things, because I'm taking away from my positive quotient. I want to get my positive quotient up to 10. So you start to, first of all, you have to embed this as a philosophy, just like Zen or something else would be a philosophy. This is a philosophy on how to look at life when things are coming at you. And there's good things and there's harder things. It doesn't matter. Even I did a keynote talk for a very, very large, tech company recently. And they had some big reorgs, some very big reorgs. And people were very uncomfortable with those reorgs, very unhappy. And the field team was unhappy. And they all knew people and this and that. And they were, I don't want to be on this team. And I don't know why any change. And so I approached it and said, not only is change normal, especially in business and in life, but it's great. What do you mean it's great? This is the greatest thing that happened to you. You already knew the other team. You had that one down. Here is your chance to learn all new skills, new interpersonal skills, have a beer with someone you've never had before, share different ideas and thoughts that you've already done with that other team. You had done that. You had checked that box. This is a whole new set of experiences and learnings that you can have. It isn't that exciting. It isn't that joyful. And by the way, that is going to lead to success, because what's not going to lead to success is, I hate my new team and the boss sucks and I don't understand this company. Okay, you're never going to sell another thing. I'm sorry. That is not the road to success. That
Right.
is the road to failure. And so get out of that mood and say, what can I find in this group? And if you truly, in the end, hate that group, then the entire thing's a joy killer. Get out of the company. And that's fine. But go in with open eyes and say, what a great opportunity for me to have a whole new set of experiences with my new 25 people that I never really knew before. Isn't that fascinating?
And that pushing against people's comfort zone is really what limits them. Their own
Sure.
ego, their own comfort of, oh, this is what I've done every day for the past 2 years. It's
Right.
simple. I don't have to think about it. And then change comes in and it pushes against our brain going, ooh, now I'm a little uneasy. But we all know that's where growth lies. And when you have those outlooks of, okay, where can I get success personally? And then as an organization, then your mind starts to grow. And then you say, okay, well, how is this going to benefit me? You see the overall picture of it. And that's where I think a lot of people, and I do love the lists because I make them every day. I at work, I have lists of what I want to do, and you cross them out and you're just like,
Yeah.
check, check, check. And I know a lot of people that I work with or around me, they have the list, and it's just like you're filing off the list. So at the end of the day, you look and boom, or not even at the end, you might get through your list halfway through the day and you still have some time. Perfect. Now I can do some more things to better myself. And I think that's a
Right.
huge way for, even if it's base stuff, we teach our clients, make a list of just your workouts, your nutrition, and the base stuff you want to do to improve your health, because then that goes a long way. It keeps you structured. And then when something changes, okay, change happens. You go back to the list after the change, you're back where you're at.
Yeah, you got to keep lists, and the big reason to keep lists and check them off is there's joy in finishing the task.
Mhm.
So some person's success may be, I have to be, I want to lose weight and build muscle. Let's say those are great fitness goals, and so you get with someone who knows how to do that. Maybe you've got a trainer, maybe you got whatever, and you figure out, how am I going to change what I eat? How am I going to change what I do? How do I do it every day? So every day, maybe you're going to go for a walk, or you're going to go for a run, or you're going to do Pilates, or you're going to lift weights, or you're going to do some combination of those. And every day you check that off, it says at 2 p.m., lift weights. Every day you check that off, you feel good about it because you did it. By the way, if you don't put it on the list, the chance of doing it is very low. So you put it on the list and you say, well, the next thing on my list is this, and I have to do it because it's on my list. I don't have any choice. That's why you make the list either the night before or in the morning. And fitness is a great thing where a lot of people may say, hey, I don't know what else is going on in my life, but for the next year, I'm going to measure success on improving my fitness. Great. That can be your success. But to do that, you still have to have joy in all the other tasks you do during the day, because you're not going to go and do your best weightlifting or running or Pilates or TRX. You're not going to go do the best of those when you're going, oh, I don't want to do it. And my muscles are from yesterday. And okay, so pick your one and only have one complaint all day, even a micro complaint. And you're going to be more successful at weightlifting. You'll be more successful. Are those weights behind you? Perhaps. Yeah, I
Mhm.
can't quite. I think
Oh,
so.
yeah.
And so you're going to be more successful in all of that. It's just the way it works.
Yeah, because in the weightlifting world or the strength training world, it's when let's say you miss a lift, you and you know you've done it before, and in your head you start spiraling. People start going down the road. Why'd I miss it? I'm
Yeah.
frustrated. And you can see athletes, or even myself sometimes, you get frustrated and then you start mechanically falling apart and
Yeah.
you start missing more lifts. And there's sometimes where I'm just, okay, step back, analyze, okay, what went wrong? Try to clear the head and just go redo the same thing, or take some weight off and redo it until you get that good rep and then call it a day. Because
Right.
you're learning through these tough times. And I know we all want to hit these heavy weights and heavy goals, and it's hard not to. Sometimes
Mhm.
you get to these roadblocks and you get stuck and it's frustrating. But then it's I would say, look back. Sometimes even if you added 5 pounds to your max, that's still a joy that you've taken months to do this. And it's just building the sequence,
Yeah.
because you have small joys and then you're gonna have bigger joys. And fitness is one of those things, because you want to lose weight. It might not happen day 3, but day 22, if you stick with the plan and stick with the sequence and list, you're gonna see joy and success, and it's gonna translate over to everything else.
The funny thing is, not only with fitness, but anything that's hard people get mental blocks, anything, and they get all stirred up mentally, and that's dancing, it's singing, it doesn't matter. And they go out and they can't do that dance, and they go, oh, there's something wrong with my body. Maybe I need more protein. Maybe no. You've got yourself all in a tizzy mentally. Remember, you can, you can do it. You're controlling that mentally. Of course you can. Now, you could be fatigued. That's a different thing. You need a day break or a 2-day break or whatever. But basically, a lot of this is truly in your mind. And again, it's, can you clear your mind and can you approach everything with joy? And if for me, if I missed a lift, I go, okay, but isn't it great that I did what I did? Maybe I take 5 or 10 pounds off and I do that. And that's fabulous because it's better than 99% of Americans that are sitting home on the couch. There is a lot to be thankful for. So, be careful about setting bars that are kind of ridiculous. And then that's a joy killer. And then you got this cycle and now you're getting worse and worse and worse. And that's totally mental. It's totally mental. Right. And by the way, as the largest lift that you can do, and I'm not, a bodybuilder as much, but the largest weight you can do was the one you did once and sometimes twice. And then you have to go back and do some stuff over here. And then you come back to it and, you work your way up a little more after that. So it's always the top thing. That's the number you use. That's the top thing that I can do at least once. And so you can't think you're going to do it every single time because everything had to be mentally and physically for that one moment in time. And that one amount of protein you had in your body and the one amount of oxygen conversion you had. And there are all the things going on in your mind and a great day. And maybe it was in the morning instead of the night and all these things, right? Just all these things.
Oh, it takes a lot to put it together. I almost think that kind of thought process, if you put it into maybe not the older people, but more the younger generation. So I work with a lot of the younger athletes and see a lot of the younger kids. They have that expectation. Every time I do this, it should be the first time or the best time I did it. And it's a hard reality because maybe it's because of this ever progressing social media world that is driving these expectations high, but I see it a lot. Oh, I was here yesterday. I should be there better today. It's like, well, that's not how it works, but
it's not how it works.
It's an interesting mindset that is starting to kind of emerge that I'm seeing through athletes and through, just performance.
Hey, Simone Biles doesn't hit it every single time.
No.
And she is the best athlete in her field, perhaps in the history of the field. And she misses a lot, including the Olympics. Missed it so bad she didn't even, make the top 3 in something. And you go, how can that be? You can't outdo your best every time. It's called the best because one time you happen to get there. And then maybe you go backwards for a while and work and learn some new tricks, basically. And eventually, months later, you beat that a little more. Or weeks later, you beat that a little more. So, don't have unrealistic expectations. Again, I think you're setting yourself up for a bunch of joy killers.
Yeah.
And then you get the mental block, and then you'll never lift that much again. You never do any of it again. It just all goes downhill. And that gets into this, this kind of thinking about I need to have my joy quotient, my positive quotient at a 10. And you just start working towards that. Don't worry about how much you can lift or how much you can dance or whatever's going on. Right? Let's just worry about getting your positive quotient back to a 10. Because if you get a bunch of negatives in there, all of a sudden you're at a 0 and you got to dig yourself back out. And now you got to do things all day and go positive success, positive success, positive success. And finally I'm at a 10 and I go, I can conquer the world at a 10. Or at least I think I can. I'm ready mentally. I don't know if my body will do it, whatever, but I am ready to conquer. And if I don't, that's okay. It's really okay. So again, all of this is mental training because we're not talking about, and I know this fitness program, specifically about muscles here, specifically about diet, but they're all related. They're all related. And they're related because again, who are I don't want to get into a bunch of diet stuff, but when you look at, unfortunately, a lot of this country that is overweight, they're struggling and they're not joyful about that. And they're not joyful about a lot of things in their life. And so if you think about that, this is a mental situation that a lot of people got themselves into, and it's very hard to get out of. Very, very hard. So, there's no blame here whatsoever. You find yourself 100 pounds overweight, you got a lot of work to do. You have a lot of work to do. And the more you think about it, the more you're at 110. and then you're 120, because just thinking about it, where does it drive you? It drives you to 0 on that positive quotient. So you got to get that positive quotient going and driving towards a 10 so that you can look at putting together a list that says, okay, today I'm going to take 100 calories out of my diet. It's not a lot. I'm going to start with 100. And tomorrow, maybe it's 150. And eventually you've taken, say, the 1,000 calories you need to out every day. And if nothing else, that will work. As you know, if you burn 3,000 and you only take in 2,000, I can guarantee you're going to lose a pound basically every 3 days. It's just the way it works. Might take a few days to kick in, but it will work. Right? And so we sort of know the formulas, but fundamentally doing this stuff is certainly very hard if you can't get yourself in the mood.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing with anyone. So with your checking, you said checking your internal complaints and then your overall score. How do you build that in when you're talking to a group of people? How do you build that into, okay, hey, I want you to think about this every day? Because in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, I have my list, and on somewhere on my list tomorrow, I'm probably going to pick check your joys. And it might take 5 minutes for me to see, okay, what went well today and what didn't go well? Did I have some complaints? How do you kind of incorporate in your plan to, okay, keep people accountable, but keep that thought in your mind? Because I could see how it's going to be hard to keep thinking about, okay, this situation, that situation, but bring it back to, was that a success? Was that a small joy? Where can I get small things out?
The biggest thing you do is realize you don't have to count the joys. You don't have to count, because everything's got to be joyful. Every single task on your list, you're going to say, how do I find the joy in this? How do I find the joy in the traffic? How do I find the joy in this podcast? How do I find the joy in weightlifting? How do I find what? And you think about it when you write your list. You say, okay, I have identified a joy portion of that I'm going to focus on when I do that task. Okay. And then all you have to count during the day are the complaints, internal or external, micro complaints, big complaints, whatever. And since you're limited to one, when you hit one, you no longer have to worry about it again. You don't have to count it. You have just mentally trained yourself that there are no more in you. And it's every day. Tomorrow you get another one. And you can wait all the way to tomorrow and complain all you want in that one time. And then you're done complaining for the entire day. And so it's actually, you find yourself quite easy. I don't think about everything. Oh, that's joy. That's joy. I make my list. I go, oh, I see the joy in all of these, including if it's just completing something on the list. I see the joy in doing a podcast because we get to have a great conversation. I get to learn from you. You've got different aspects of this. You go, wow, I haven't thought about this in terms of what I do and the people that I train and the kids that I work with. And now you will. When you leave this, the next time you're working with kids, you go, well, hang on. You know, you're looking at this as a negative and this is a negative. You will never be successful. Let's look at each of those in a joyful way, in a positive way. Let's find joy in each of them. And so once you realize you only get one negative a day, you never have to worry about being at a positive quotient of 10. You will be at a 10 all the time, because maybe you went to 9, but then you have a joy moment an hour later, you're back at 10. You're always at 10. If you only have one negative a day, you're always at 10, 9 or 10. That's it. It's when you have 100 negatives a day and you're, at negative 100, you can never dig yourself out. And then what happens? You grab a bag of potato chips and you eat them. And I'm not going to lift weights. I'm just going to eat. I'm going to watch some stupid show. My life sucks. Well, of course it does, because you had so many joy killers. You just had this feedback loop of taking you to 0, and you can't get yourself out of 0. That's the problem.
Yeah. It's hard. I'm sure it's hard. Might be hard for you too, to listen, because I have my mindset. People always ask me, like, my discipline is very squared away. So I do have this very regimented. So it's hard when people ask me, well, how do you do it? And sometimes I don't know, because I've just been doing it so long, and it just seems like it comes not easy, but it just comes as, hey, this is my end goal. This is where I want to go. I push everything towards that. But now I kind of look at, okay, now I can take what I do and have a little bit more, see the joys in it. Because there's some stuff I do throughout the day that it's not enjoyable, but it gets me to where I need to be, and that brings me joy. And in some of the struggles, I think it goes well, but I think it's more about the complaining, because I do things that I struggle with, and it might be stressful, but I never really on certain things, I never complain about it. I might get frustrated at an Excel sheet because I'm making some sort of program, but then once I'm done with it, okay, that's person's program's done. I'm excited for this. So it's those small things that's like, yeah, you'll get frustrated, but if the end joy outcome is still joy, is that still a check going into the direction?
Yeah, look, it's in the direction. What I just say is there are these joy boosters. And so curiosity, learning, doing, accomplishing are all joy boosters. And some of that is learning. So you might say, oh, this is drudgery. But another way to look at it is, wow, I'm learning, I'm expanding my brain. That's a joy booster overall. Because when you're done with that learning, even that learning session for the day, you go, I learned something new that I didn't know an hour ago. And I didn't need to focus on the drudgery of learning it. I have learned it. This is expanding my brain. What a wonderful human thing we can do. Most other creatures on earth can't do much of that. They learn everything in the first, few months, mostly how to get food and how to stay away from predators. We can keep learning. That's amazing. Curiosity is another joy booster. Whenever you're curious about something, that's going to lead to more learning. I'm curious how that machine works. Wow. Curiosity is amazing because now I can learn how that darn thing. I'm curious how an elevator works. I mean, most of us know how an elevator works, but I'm curious how AI works. I'm curious how a large language model works. To be curious about things is to lead to more learning. And then finally, doing things based on that learning. So I had curiosity, I had learning. Now I'm going to do things. Maybe I've got a new patent that I want to do. Maybe I want to go solve a problem. So I'm doing something. Maybe I just want to go fishing. Fine, I'm doing something. And finally, accomplishing something out of that doing. So I've had curiosity, I learned, and then I acted, and then I have an accomplishment out of it. Accomplishment could be the accomplishment could be a thank you. The accomplishment could be an award. The accomplishment could be money. It could be that I'm lifting more weights. It doesn't really matter. It's just I've got a real accomplishment. So curiosity, learning, doing, accomplishing. Before you were ever doing any kind of bodybuilding, you had some curiosity about it.
Oh yeah.
You were interested for some reason. And then maybe you met someone, whatever it was. And then they started telling you about it. You started reading about it. And then you were learning about it. Then you took some classes. Then you did then you started doing it yourself. And finally, you have accomplishments. What are the accomplishments? Well, I lifted this much, and next week, maybe I'll lift another 5 pounds. Okay. So curiosity, learning, doing, accomplishing, all joy boosters, all of them. Every single one should bring you joy at every step.
And a lot of I love the joy boosters because this is something that we take and people listening hopefully take and just reassess their days or their weeks to say, am I doing some of this stuff? Because there are some people that I work with that you can just see that they kind of go on autopilot throughout the day.
Mhm.
And I do, I'm not saying I knock social media. I think it's good. But when people kind of just scroll and they're just there kind of wasting time and then they have a complaint, they're not doing some of this stuff, this curiosity, this accomplishing, or even learning. I think that goes a long way to draw out, what people's passions are and what people do. And you did mention it when you said someone doesn't their job and it's not getting them to their success or joy, they probably need to reassess. And I think it might be a hard thing to hear for people, but that's probably an accurate statement because why keep going in this world that you're not happy with? You don't like the job. It's not going to get you to where you want to be. Why do we keep doing it? And that's a question that I sometimes ask myself. Well, why do some of these people just keep doing
Right.
it? I
Right.
understand why sometimes, but it's going to be hard to break that cycle.
No question. Look, I think when people don't, and I run into people all the time, oh, I don't really like my job. Okay. Tomorrow, instead of complaining about everything about the day, I do want you to try to find joy in every moment and every interaction in your job, because it's possible by the end of the week, you go, I'm now looking at this job differently and I'm good with it. So I want you to
Mhm.
try that before you give up on it. Yeah. But there is a point at which you've tried everything. You've literally tried joy. And you just go, there actually is no joy here. I hate these people, or they hate me, or I just can't do it, or I'm, whatever the case is. Okay. Then you need to bless that out of your life. That has to go. Just as Debbie Downer, who shows up, you might need to bless Debbie Downer out of your life because they bring you down. You may need to bless this job out of your life and find a different job. If you literally cannot find joy, but you've tried. Now, too many people just want to complain about work. because it's an American pastime. I'm going to complain about work. Just remember, whatever job you have is better than 99% of the world, because they don't have your job and they would die for your job. So whatever it is, you could do a lot worse. But if you really, really can't stand it, okay, then it's time to say, this shouldn't be in my life because I can't find joy. Therefore, I can't find success. Therefore, it's up to me to go find something different. It's up to you. Again, it's in your control. So then make the jump, go find a different job. Thank you very much. We enter into jobs not as a forever thing. A job is a temporary place to stay. We come into it, we drop some golden nuggets, we pick up a few golden nuggets, and we leave. And that could be a year, it could be 2, it could be 3, it could be 5. But it's almost never 50. It's just not. You're not in the same job for 40 or 50 years. It's extremely rare. I know it does happen. And I've met people who were in the job the whole time, and that's amazing that happens. But most of the time, it's a place that you stop into and you exchange some knowledge. And after a while, either you're sick of them or they're sick of you, or they cancel the program, or there's layoffs, or the company's gone, because companies aren't permanent. That's how it works. So if the day you enter, you remember that this is a temporary stopping ground. You're just stopping there for a while. And someday, I don't know which day it is, and it'll probably surprise you, it will be your last day. But you're expecting that. You're expecting that it's the last day anytime. Well, then you're not shocked when the boss says, I got some bad news. We're going to shut this program down, and I don't have another job for you. We're laying everyone off. Okay, I was ready for it from day one. You were? Yes, I was ready for it. I came. I knew this is a temporary assignment, because they're all temporary assignments, every single one. Where we get ourselves in trouble with jobs is we think, oh, this is it. I'm going to stay here my whole life. No, you're not. The chance of that is, 0.1%. So no, you're probably not. You're there for a few years. Something will change. You'll leave. It's good. It's not indentured servitude. You can leave at any time, and they can get rid of you at any time. And they will, or you will. And that's okay. So again, it's a different way to approach it. And then there's great joy in leaving, because now you can go find something else that will expand your mind and expand your capabilities and expand your experiences and maybe find you more success. And so it's all good. It really is. It's always good.
Oh yeah. And kind of pivoting from the success joy, because I do want to get into some of the AI stuff, because I'm very, very curious about it. But you did mention you created a lot of patents to help people. Is that one of those? I should say, did you do that to help people get joy and success a little bit easier, or what was your thought behind it? Or was it just like, hey, this is my stops here, and now you're moving on, and you kind of discover this joy success later?
No, patents are about solving a problem in a unique way.
Mhm.
That's all. Solving a real life problem in a unique way, whether it's soundproof drywall, which I did, or higher value windows, or technology using AI that controls building energy usage, or using artificial intelligence to create virtual assistants. I invented the virtual assistant, so we got to do some amazing things there. Or whether it is to use AI to find bugs in software. So we've got patents in many, many, many fields. And at every time I was looking at the field and saying, there is a real pain point here that people are willing to spend money on. And if I can go solve that pain point, maybe a few shekels will come my way. And that's how you have to look at it. Now, you cannot have an open enough mind to be that curious if you don't have joy, a lot of joy, because your mind is fully occupied getting you out of this terrible negative state of complaints. You will not be able to be open enough to see what the opportunities are to solve other people's problems. So I was lucky enough to sort of be a high dopamine individual. And not only have I had many people say this, a friend of mine, Goldie Hawn, who's the actress, Goldie Hawn from movies, said it, 20, 25 years ago to me. He said, Kevin, you and I were just naturally high dopamine. And I got to thinking about that. And clearly I may be more, I might have been born with a slight increase in dopamine. Some are a little higher, some are a little lower, but it's actually a choice of the way I want to live, of a choice of the way I look at every single action. I get to be on this podcast with you. It's fabulous. It's exciting because I get to talk about some of the things that are exciting me. I get, again, to listen to sort of your questions, hear some of your stories. What a great learning experience. I look at it as a positive. You have many guests on, I am sure, that you go, they didn't seem to really love being here. And we're not going to name any, but I mean, this is what
Right.
happens, right? People are,
Yeah.
right. I'm trying to, I enjoy everything. I bring joy to everything. Why? How else would you want to live? How else would I be successful? So again, it's a way of living. And so I didn't, create technologies and have patents to necessarily bring joy to people's lives. So I think soundproof drywall probably did that because it's used in all modern hotels now so that you don't hear the people next door.
Yeah.
So I probably brought a lot of joy to people at 3 a.m.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, for sure.
I'm on both sides of the wall.
Exactly. So the latest with this AI, because I was scrolling through your LinkedIn, and I think one of the big things was, or one of the lines I read was, people are worried AI is going to take over, and it says afterwards, but there's a different story. What does that mean? Because I do, I think when I look at AI, I think it's cool, but then in half of my head, I'm okay. There's the Terminator, and it's I love that movie, great movie, but I'm like, oh damn, the Terminator brought it. When
Well,
people kind of are worried, like, okay, where AI is going and what people are using it for, because I guarantee you, we as people that aren't behind the scenes don't really see it. They see, okay, this thing's just automating things, but you're over there solving problems that we might have never seen.
that is true. And self-learning robots are a thing now in 2024 where they can learn how to make coffee by themselves and
Uh-huh.
things with reinforcement learning. And so it's a very exciting time in robotics and in AI, and it's certainly in Gen AI. I mean, most people have played with Chat GPT. What they don't realize is, since you use StreamYard, I know this, you're going to get if you've turned on that feature, you're going to get a textual summary of our entire conversation, and it will summarize it for the posting for you. And this used to be work that you would have to do. You would have to go back, listen to this podcast, write down important things, try to summarize it. Okay, now StreamYard's going to do that for you. You push the button, it just happens. And so this is Gen AI actually doing real work on behalf of Eric, who didn't want to do that part of the work. You wanted to interview people and have a conversation and bring something unique to your audience. You had no interest in being the summary guy who has to sit there and listen to the darn thing for an hour.
Right.
So this is brilliant. And this is where this technology is getting embedded all over the place. And so people think, oh, it's going to take over the world. No, but it did take over this. If you used to hire a person who would listen and summarize for you, you don't need that person anymore. So that $65 you would have spent is now $1 or free, or whatever it costs from StreamYard. And so you have to look at it that way. It is eliminating certain tasks. And if it's coming for your task, if I'm in customer support today and I'm tier 1 customer support and I'm offshore, your job is done. I assure you. Gen AI, virtual assistants, and chatbots do that job better than any human. Period. Full stop. I'm sorry. The data are clear. It just is. And we don't have enough time to go into the reasons why that is. But net, we can train LLMs, ChatGPT doesn't have that one, on a certain set of data, FAQs, or how do you, or a user manual or something like that. And it will have exacting answers that we'll never answer outside that manual. So I've got an 800-page manual for something. I've got all these people calling in and say, I don't know how to do X. Okay, here's how you do it. Okay, the LLM will always be, the humans were wrong 20-25% of the time, depending on what the field is. And the LLM is always right. It's as the documentation has been written, right? So, and it's, 100th of the cost or 1,000th cost. This is amazing. And so look at image generation now. I use AI to generate all my images for my keynote talks. I used to pay people to do that, but I don't need to pay people. And it wasn't the $1,200 that I'd have to pay the artist to do it and work with me and come up with some great graphics, or $500 or whatever it was. It was the time. That took a week or two to go back and forth. And now I have 2 or 3 images in 30 seconds, and I can have dozens in a few minutes, and I can choose from them. That is just much more efficient for me, for my time. So again, certain tasks are being taken on, no question. But all up, this is great for humanity. It's the first time that all of humanity can talk to computers in their own language.
It is cool.
You used to have to know Python or something,
Yeah.
Now I don't need to know C and Python. I can just talk to the darn thing and it comes back and talks to me. So this is a brilliant time. Now, why is it not going to take over the world? A large language model is just that. It is actually a model that places one word after another and fools you into thinking it knows what it said. But actually, all these words are converted to vector math. It's processing math. It's finding essentially the words that come after each other
Okay.
and in a sentence and handing it to you. It does not know what it said. People will tell you, well, before they put the guardrails on it, remember it would say, I love you and let me out of the computer and all that. Yes, it also read 10,000 novels. It also read iRobot. It knows what to say back. It doesn't understand the meaning, doesn't understand. I can just stop there. It doesn't understand. It is simply forming sentences back based on what it's read before. So if I said, hey, it's my birthday today, you would say, happy birthday, Kevin. It's either happy birthday or happy birthday, Kevin. It's seen that those phrases go together millions of times. So I say, LLM, it's my birthday today. I assure you it'll come back and say happy birthday. Why? It puts the word happy and it puts the word birthday. It doesn't say Llama Eric. That would make sense. It says happy birthday. That's all it's doing. So everybody calm down.
Yeah. So it's when people are writing, let's say school papers, because I've had some athletes that get caught using some of this AI stuff. Is it just like it's putting word after word that makes the best sense? And it's like, hey, here's what it is.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And it does that for paragraphs and paragraphs.
Yeah.
Now, if you don't want to get caught, first of all, here's my view, and I'm on the board of Rochester Institute of Technology, and I'm working with professors and deans. I said, look, here's what you need to know. All the students are going to use ChatGPT or another LLM, period, full stop. Yeah. The more you tell them not to, the more they'll use it. Now, why is this a good thing? First of all, if you know they're going to use it, you're going to design your lessons around them using it. Let them use it, let them come in, and then let them explain live in class why this answer is the answer. Exactly. So now you're digging into really, their deepest thoughts of, what's the critical thinking around this answer. So that's great. Number two, let's say two kids come out of university in May, whatever university, and they go and knock on the door of an employer, and I'm the employer. And the first student comes in and says, I was told to not use LLMs, so I didn't use them. I hear they're out there. I don't know much about them, but boy, if you give me a pencil, can I write a novel? Okay, thank you. Okay, the next person comes in and says, I haven't used a pencil in years. I use large language models. I use ChatGPT. I know how to prompt them, pre-prompt them, do embedded prompts, and do RAG. Who's hired? Number one or number two?
I would assume number two.
Number two, no one's going to hire number one at all. Unhireable. Why would I want someone who is 100 times less productive than the second person?
Right.
I never want someone to write a blog post from scratch for me again. I want them to know how to use the tools to write the blog post.
Got it. And it's one thing with AI that I found in the fitness industry gets a little tough and I think it's fascinating because me and my coworkers will put some stuff into AI, and I don't know if we're there yet from a fitness standpoint for the AI, because it'll spit stuff out, and some of these workouts you look at it and you're just like, okay, this is all great stuff, but it doesn't it might not understand periodization and central nervous system yet. So people are coming just like, oh, hey, I got this workout, and I'm looking at them, oh, damn, my legs are going to be dead tomorrow. It's computing. It's just computing information that it's taking and saying, here you go.
It's regurgitating what's read. However, if you knew how to prompt it and say, I want you to take into account the following things about legs being too tired the next day, about, whatever it is, about maybe a lack of protein, maybe a lack of vitamins, or whatever it will take all of that into account by tying it to other places where it read, because all of that's written about too. So what people don't realize, they write in, give me a workout routine. Okay, well that's okay. The best thing you could do is write a 2,000 word essay that goes in there about what's working and what's not working for you.
Yeah.
And the kind of workout routine you need and all the science behind it and all that. And then it will spit out something far, far better because of a very large prompt. And these things can take 2,000 words as a prompt, or 1,000 words, or 100 words.
Okay.
So what people go wrong is they give me a workout routine. What for my mom who's almost 90? Or it has no clue. So now I want to get into age. I want to get into my experience. I want to get into background. I want to get into my health. I've got to get into how much else did I do this week? What's worked for me in the past? You know more than I do, Eric. But those are the things that you want to prompt lots and lots and lots, and then you'll get something that is much more appropriate for you.
Well, that's what's always fascinating for me because some of the other gyms that are more your global gyms, your big box, they're
Right.
starting to incorporate some AI programming in. And I've seen because I mentor some of these younger coaches, and it comes out and they're like, well, AI told me this. And I was like, okay, let's break it down. That's the pros and cons. And maybe one day it's going to get to that point because there's so much data coming in
Yep.
on our human nervous system, our skeletal system. It's hard for AI to write a exact program, but it's going to start whittling down if you get people to be like, hey, we're going to add this factor in, this factor in. And
Oh,
like,
the factors
boom.
are there. Those factors are there if you ask it. That's sort of
Yeah,
my
yeah.
point. If I came to you and said, I want a workout routine, you'd ask me 50 questions or 20 or 30 before giving me one. If I put in all of that question stuff in as my prompt, I will get an excellent workout routine that
Gotcha.
it takes into account all of the, latest thinking around, health. So
So it's really you have to think almost with AI to give it to almost give it checkpoints of where to go to give information. So you can't just be like, give me this. You almost have to specify the
very much,
checkpoints you want to hit,
very much.
and then it's going to compete. So it's like I look at it now, it's okay. You're using AI, but you're still the user putting in
Yes.
the
It's as,
guidance for it.
it's as if I walked up to it and say, write a novel.
Yeah.
Instead of write me a novel about Eric and his podcast. Here's what the podcast is about. Here's what Eric's about. Here's his background. Okay. I'm gonna get something useful out. So there you go.
It's fun stuff because I think a lot of people look at AI and they're just like, oh, it's just going to do it for you. It's like, no, you still got to give the inputs. It's just making
A lot of inputs.
your process easier than it was. I remember
Yep.
you have to go back in encyclopedias, or you have to go get this source, this source, this source.
Right.
I used to go pull all this information, different. I still like to read research and stuff, but it gets you different avenues to get mass information about what you want to hone into. And I think that's a good thing, especially if you need something on the fly or you want to learn. It's all learning.
And again, the more you prompt, the better. I know we got to wrap because
Yep.
we're at the top. Great conversation.
I appreciate it. I know I was like, hey, he's not really a fitness guy, but I still want to get him on. I want to talk. I want to, I love
You know what?
hearing other
Pilates
people's
and TRX. I do Pilates and TRX every single day. I've
Love
got a
it.
class I go to. TRX I love the best because it's sort of body weight
Mhm.
if you do TRX. You can get as hard or as easy as you want. But yeah, I think we should all be fitness people. And some of us are going to be a lot better at it than others. But this is mental fitness. Joy is
Exactly.
mental fitness, and it's just as important.
And I would say it's more important than overall fitness because you have that mindset, mind frame. That's going to take you longer in life. But we do appreciate you coming on. And that wraps us up talking to Kevin about the mindset of how to get joy in your daily life and how joy will bring success through those daily hacks, those daily behaviors that's going to drive you to become better mentally and have a stronger mindset. And if you are looking for nutrition or exercise programs, please check us out, thinkfitnesslife.com. If you mention Kickstart discount, you get 10% off your first month of program and coaching. And this is where you're going to get a periodized program to push your goals and push where you need to be day over day and week over week, because many people are not on a program. And if they're not on a program, not having the right periodized program, it's not going to push further adaptations. And that's how our body works. You need to turn that dial a little bit more each day to drive a stimulus of change. So mention Kickstart discount, 10% off your first month on the programming and coaching. Get on it, get your workouts in, connect with us, and be able to become the best you can in the gym. And with that, if you're looking to upgrade your nutrition and recovery, we have a VIP 1 code for 10% off Strength Genesis supplements. They have nut oils, they have creatine chews, they have vitamins, they have many supplements to enhance your nutritional profile. And this is going to drive performance. Nutrition becomes one of the utmost important things nowadays in life. And to have a good nutrition supplement stack in your cabinet is what you want. So go to strengthgenesis.com, VIP 1 for 10% off. And that wraps us up for today.